back with another video for you with new stories from Ethiopia and Eritrea. Firstly, Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital, where key ambassadors, representatives, special envoys from the EU and US have arrived to discuss Tigray conflict. Why are talks being delayed? What is Ethiopian government's position? What is Tigray's position? Some key meetings have been held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital. Two members of Ethiopian government nominated negotiation committee briefed these ambassadors from Germany, France, UK, US, UN special representative, EU special representative. What did the two negotiators say? 5 points were raised by these two Ethiopian government appointed negotiators. Secondly, we have a new story about the UN Inquiry Commission on Ethiopia, 3-member commission which is in Ethiopia, tasked with the investigation of human rights abuses, violations of humanitarian law, violations of refugee law committed during Tigray conflict since the 3rd of November 2020. Will this commission be allowed to visit Tigray? Has this commission submitted a request for travel to Tigray? Today, Ethiopian government spoke about whether the commission will be allowed to visit Tigray or not. Thirdly, we have two news stories from Eritrea. In the previous videos, I reported about 5 Eritrean athletes who went missing in the US during World Athletics Championships held last week in Oregon, US. Now, some viewers have shared details with me of at least 2 athletes who they say are not missing. They'll take part in another competition due to be held in Colombia. We have details for you. Lastly, a new story from Sweden where Eritrean opposition diaspora groups have been trying to stop a festival, Eritrean Diaspora Community Festival, which is being attended by Avil Said, famous Eritrean poet. He is a poet. In some previous videos, I said that he was a singer. He is a poet. Despite obstacles, despite opposition from opposition groups, this festival started today in Sweden. We have a clip for you. Firstly, viewers, some significant developments regarding Tigray conflict, regarding peaceful solution to this conflict. We know that for the past few weeks, talks are under discussion. Talks are being talked. But so far, talks have not started between Ethiopian federal government and Tigray regional government to find a political solution to Tigray conflict, which started in November 2020. Talks are being delayed. Perhaps that is why some top Western UN, US officials arrived in Ethiopia a few hours ago. And today, on Thursday, some key meetings were held. Who attended these meetings? Firstly, ambassadors from UK, US, Germany, Italy, France. Secondly, EU's special representative for the Horn of Africa, Annette Weber, was there. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' special representative also came to attend these meetings. And US Special Envoy also attended. No one from Africa, though some sources are saying that African Union representative was also part of this meeting, but what we have learned from Ethiopian state media, Fana TV did not share details about any African representatives who were part of these meetings. Mostly, you can say Western officials, UN officials, they arrived in Addis Ababa, they held meetings. Who briefed them? We know that a 7-member committee was formed a few weeks ago by Ethiopian government to hold talks with Tigray representatives. And 2 members of this committee are Ridwan Hussein, who is National Security Advisor of PM Abiy. Secondly, Minister of Justice Gideon Timotheus. These 2 Ethiopian government officials briefed UN, EU, US officials about the peace process, the talks. What did the 2 officials say? What is Ethiopian government's position? Firstly, 5 points were raised by these 2 Ethiopian government officials. Firstly, they said Ethiopian government is ready to talk to Tigray representatives anytime, anywhere. It means that Ethiopian government is ready to hold talks in Kenya as well, because we know that a few weeks ago we heard rumors that African Union was trying to take these talks to Tanzania. Tigray opposed the change of venue. Tigray supported talks in Nairobi, Kenya, under the auspices of Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta. So Ethiopian government today firstly said talks can be held anytime, anywhere, Tanzania, Kenya, wherever, it does not matter. Secondly, it said no preconditions. No preconditions will be laid out before talks. Ethiopian government has no preconditions. It means Tigray will have no preconditions. Tigray should have no preconditions as well. But we know that just 2 days ago, Debretsion Gebremichael, Tigray's president, laid out some preconditions. He said there must be resumption of telecom, electricity and banking service before the start of talks with Ethiopian federal government. He also spoke about withdrawal of hostile forces from Tigray territories, from Western Tigray. But government says no preconditions. Talks should start without any preconditions. Second point. Third point, government once again reiterated its position that talks will be led by African Union. Tigray says talks should be led by Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta. African Union can be part of talks, but leading role should be, Kenya should have leading role. But today Ethiopian government said that African Union should have leading role, but it can have logistical support of other bodies. It can involve other bodies like EU, UN, etc. Fourthly, it said that Ethiopian government, that the EU, UN officials, foreign diplomats, they are allowed to travel to Tigray. If they want to meet Debretsion, if they want to meet Tigray leaders, they are allowed. So it means that in coming hours, we could see these top EU, UN, US, France, Germany, Italy, ambassadors, officials visit Tigray. It will happen. But stalemate is there, it seems. Ethiopian government says no preconditions. Talks should be led by African Union. Talks can be held anywhere, but Tigray's government 2 days ago made its position very clear. So let's see. Meanwhile, we know that next month presidential election in Kenya is due to be held, and it will take some time for this presidential election to be concluded. Election will be held on the 9th of August, then results will be announced, then a new president will be sworn in. So it will take some time. Are these parties, especially Tigray, waiting for the new president to take office? If parties are waiting for the election, it might take some time. And we know that last presidential election in Kenya, which was held in 2017, was nullified by Supreme Court. And then there was a re-election in Kenya. So election results might not be accepted by all parties. That is why talks should start before Kenyan election, as early as possible. That is why perhaps these EU, US, UN officials are in Ethiopia. So in coming hours, these top officials will arrive in Tigray. Will update you once they arrive what they discuss there in Tigray. Secondly, viewers, a top UN commission is in Ethiopia these days. UN Inquiry Commission on Ethiopia, formed in December last year, mandated to inquire into human rights abuses, violations of international humanitarian law, refugee law seen during Tigray conflict since the start of the conflict in November 2020. Today, Ridwan Hussein, National Security Advisor of the PM of Ethiopia, said that so far this UN Commission has not been allowed to travel to Tigray. Question is, did this commission submit a request to travel to Tigray? Because we have not seen any statement from these commission members that they want to travel to Tigray. If they submit a request, then we can discuss. Is the request being approved or is it being rejected? That can be discussed if this commission requested a visit to Tigray. We have not received any reports confirming that the commission wants to visit Tigray, though it should. It must visit Tigray because it is investigating abuses committed during Tigray conflict, committed in Tigray, in Amhara, in Afar. All violations will be investigated. So if the commission does not travel to Tigray, how can it investigate human rights abuses? And how can it have the trust of Tigray regional government? Let's see. The commission is still in Ethiopia. In coming hours, we'll update you about the activities of this commission. So far, commission has released a message, a press release has been issued. It is asking all individuals, groups, organizations that whoever has information and documentation about abuses committed during Tigray conflict must share details with the commission. Thirdly, a new story from Eritrea, viewers. In the previous video, I reported disappearance of 5 Eritrean athletes who attended last week's World Athletics Championships held in Oregon, US. And then after that, they went missing. Some viewers shared correction with me. They said, Sajid, they have not gone missing, but they are attending another competition in Colombia. That is why they have not returned to Eritrea. Firstly, who claimed that 5 Eritrean athletes went missing in the US? Kaval.com, K-V-A-L, Kaval.com. Kaval.com is a website which shares news stories about Eugene. Eugene is in Oregon, US. And in Oregon, we know that World Athletics Championships were held. This information was shared by a local US news source, not by any TPLF activist. Kaval.com claimed that local police received this complaint that 5 Eritrean athletes had gone missing, and police was investigating this matter, and so far Kaval.com has not shared any update. Now the viewers say that the 5 athletes are going to compete at the start of August at a competition in Colombia. But they have shared with me two names, Mirhavi Mibrato, Heptom Samuel. Their names are included in the list of athletes due to take part in August competition due to be held in Colombia. Other three athletes, I could not find their names in the list shared by these viewers. The three other athletes are Ande Filmon, Birhe Estgedom, Yimane, Tikleham, Haile Selassie. They are missing, but their names are not on the list of athletes which are due to take part in Colombia competition due to be held next month. So we'll try to update you if we have more credible information. Problem is that Eritrean government does not share anything. You cannot reach them, you cannot contact them for clarification. No one responds to your messages, to your direct messages. So it would be appropriate that the government should clarify where are these five athletes. One is from coaching staff, and I think four are athletes. Lastly, viewers, we have a new story from Sweden where again, correction, I'm repeating, Abul Said is not a singer, he is a poet known for his fiery poetry. In some previous videos, I said he is a singer. No, he's not a singer, he is a poet. Abul Said has arrived in Sweden, and Eritrean opposition diaspora groups tried to stop the festival which kicked off today in Stockholm, Sweden. Makeshift arrangements were made at an open place, it seems, but large number of Eritreans, Eritrean diaspora members is attending this festival, a 3-day long festival. In the previous video, I shared pictures of Abul Said clad in military uniform. He'll perform as well. Watch this clip from Stockholm, Sweden, where this Eritrean diaspora festival is in full swing. Thank you for watching.